Alright, this is HG Nataku and this is part 2 of my work in progress on the 1:100 scale high-grade Gundam Nataku. And as you can see, since the last video, I've completely gone over Nataku in a nice coat of primer. And so now you can kind of sort of get a look at what the final shape of the model kit is going to look like. Because before you could see all the panel lines that I'd filled in and the seam lines are still there and all that stuff, but now that all that's gone, you can see the final shape of the kit. And I just did a couple of things since the last video. I think I filled in all the seam lines. I reshaped the knee a little bit. There was like a little ridge right there on the bottom. I just sanded that down smooth and went back and kind of rescribed some of the panel lines that I did want to keep, just so that they'd be nice and deep. And I think that's pretty much it. Also, one other thing I did is that I changed my mind about the hands. I snatched some hands from an old Master Grade I had lying around. I actually had a Master Grade pt02 that I'd stripped the paint off of, and it was just in really bad shape, and I'm not going to do anything else with it, so I'm using pt02's hands for Nataku here. All 3 sets of hands, by the way. A couple of people asked me how I intended to fill in the seam line on the head while being able to paint everything. And there's actually a couple ways you can do that. In this instance, I went ahead and filled in the seam line on the head, glued the whole head together without putting the face in there, as you can see. And basically what I'm going to do is, here's the face right here, is I'm going to cut off these 2 little pegs on the side right here, and then after everything's painted and finished, I can just slide the face up inside the, I guess, helmet and glue it in place, and that's how it works. Other times I've painted the face first, kind of like I did here, and put masking tape over the face, and then assembled the head and filled in the seam line and then painted it that way. And then when I was done, I just removed the masking tape and there's the face. I was actually going to do that on this guy, which is why the face is already painted, but I decided to do the method I just talked about. So anyway, that's enough me rambling on. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to do as far as painting this guy. Alright, so I'm starting off with the gold parts first. There aren't very many of them. And basically what I've done is I've just sprayed on a layer of gold paint, as you can see. It's a nice bright gold. And then I'm going to be going over that with some clear yellow. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this Tamiya clear yellow. Got a nice little paint stirrer. Stir that up just a little bit. And I'm just going to spoon a little bit into this little metal paint tray. Don't really need much. And I've got some rubbing alcohol here, which is what Tamiya paint thins with. Actually, you can use either water or rubbing alcohol, but alcohol dries faster, so that's what I like to use. And this paint is already pretty thin straight out of the bottle, so you're not going to have to thin it very much. Let's see, add a few more drops to this until you get it pretty nice and thin. And I think this is just about going to do it. And then we just take that paint and put it into the airbrush. And now we can begin airbrushing. And if you can even hear me, all that noise in the background is my air compressor and the thing you see in front of you, the spray booth. So basically we're going to be taking these gold parts and just airbrushing the clear yellow right on top of it. Give it a nice coat. And then we'll end up with a nice golden yellow gold kind of color like this. This is the chest plate for Nataku, so the edge is going to be gold, and I'm going to have to mask that off and come back later and spray the rest of the chest piece red. And you can take a look. There's another one of the gold parts that we just painted. One of the dragon fangs. Nice, rich, I call it honey gold, because it does kind of have the color of honey, but that's the kind of gold I like. Alright, and now for the non-metallic colors. What I've done here is I've taken all the red parts and gone over them in a nice even coat of dark red. And actually, it looks darker in real life than it does on camera, but trust me, it's a pretty dark red. And I've loaded the airbrush up with pure red, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to spray on some highlights in the open areas like so. And unfortunately I don't think that's really showing up on camera very well, but trust me, it's there. You'll probably be able to see it better when I do the final review of this guy. But you're going to get a nice little highlight effect in the open areas. And this is just one method of pre-shading. You can do pre-shading in several different ways, but this is just one of those techniques you can use. And this is pretty much the final product. Again, like I said, the pre-shading doesn't show up quite as good right here under this bright light, but it should be able to, you should be able to see it much better once I get this guy flat coated and show him off in my final video. Also, on the white parts, I've done pretty much the same thing. I went over the entire part in a layer of light gray, and then went in and highlighted the big open areas with white, so you can still see some of that light gray around the panel lines and the edges and things like that. Just giving it kind of a, I don't know, not really a weathered look, but just kind of a more shaded look to give it a little bit more definition. And for the black parts, I've basically just sprayed it with a base coat of black, and then gone in with a little bit of dark gray to do a little bit of highlighting there. The extensions on the dragon fangs have been painted in just straight up gunmetal. The backpack I painted in kind of a light brownish gray color. I think I remembered Nataku's backpack being this color in the movie Endless Waltz, but they have it painted green on the instruction manual. But either way, I painted this in this kind of light brownish gray color, and then did a little bit of highlighting with a lighter version of that. And I'll probably come in later and do some detailing with some dark gray on some of these little circular thingies here. And we've sprayed all of the, I guess, shore pink parts. I had to mix this pink up myself, and as you can see, I did a little bit of highlighting and pre-shading on there as well. Also notice the masking tape around the edges of the chest piece here, so that way when I remove the tape later, the gold paint will still be intact. And all of the gray parts have been painted in just a straight dark gray. So that about does it for the second work in progress on 1:100 scale high grade Nataku. All I've got to do now is just wait for all this paint to dry, and then I'll do a little bit of panel lining, a little bit of detailing, give them a flat coat, and make the final video showing off the paint job. So with that, I'll see you guys next time.